Stay with me while I tell you about my ex, who is a serial. To preface, I'm 18 years old. We met when I was 17 and she was a 50-year-old police officer. We met online on TikTok when she found my account and started liking and commenting on all of my TikToks. I didn't think anything of it until she started heavily flirting with me in my comment section, and so I ended up going to look on her account and saw that she was a police officer. It went a while until we ended up actually interacting with each other when she DM'd me one day and did the little waving thing, and we talked for a little while over in our TikTok DMs. And
take a look at this body cam video we have from 2022 of Deputy Carly Miranda Blum. You can see her in the body cam footage from a separate deadly arrest she was involved in that year. The reason we are showing you her this way right now is because she's under federal arrest, so there's no mugshot as of right now. The U.S. Attorney's Office said 51-year-old Miranda Blum first received illicit material from the teen, then she traveled to Atlanta earlier this year and recorded herself doing with the then 17-year-old.
This is Tiffany Kim, and you are watching For Real Media YouTube channel.
I didn't think anything of it until she started heavily flirting with me in my comment section, and so I ended up going to look on her account and saw that she was a police officer. It went a while until we ended up actually interacting with each other when she DM'd me one day and did the little waving thing, and we talked for a little while over in our TikTok DMs. And long story short, we talked for a couple of days before I ended up giving her my number, and we started texting and calling from there. She seemed pretty normal for a 50-year-old, but granted she shouldn't have been talking to me at the time. I told her I was 18 at first before telling her a couple of days later that I was actually 17. And she wasn't phased. She continued talking to me, and our relationship kind of kick-started there. It went very, very fast. It was almost immediate that she had kind of put her claim down on me for the most part. She would always talk about wanting to come see me, and she lived in Miami and I live in Atlanta, so we were talking long distance. She would always talk about how she wanted to see me, how she wanted to come up, how she was so excited to have met me, and she was already falling in love with me because I was so smart and so beautiful and all the things. And I'm pretty smart, so I knew what was going on, but I was just entertaining it for, I guess, my own enjoyment. But it started to intensify really, really, really fast. And she would say things that were randomly really possessive and kind of creepy, and I should have blocked her then, but I didn't. And we started calling maybe 2 weeks after she got my number, and we'd call during the night and just kind of talk about everything. And then there was one night where we were talking about work, her job, and I had asked her, I was how do you ever kill anyone on duty, or ever had to do that on duty, or had to shoot someone? And she said, on duty or off duty? And I said, both. Weird fucking question. Why would you hit someone off duty? And she started telling me about it. She told me that she killed someone the very first time when she was 15 years old because she was in a gang. She had been in a gang since she was 13. And then the next couple of ones were when she was 18, 20, 21, just as she got older, she just continued. At this point, I definitely should have left, but I'm a curious person, and if someone is admitting to having murdered people, I want to know more. And she wasn't in my state, wasn't in my city, and I was if this goes left, I can just block her and be done with it. Pause, look how cute my shirt is. It's backless. So after she ended up telling me a lot more, really descriptive details about how the Everglades, because it's sacred property or something, they go and dump bodies in the Everglades and let all the animals bodies. And she would also tell me about her torture methods and how she would have to do what she called grab and smash, or smash and grab or something, where she would pick someone up off the street and beat the shit out of them and drop them off somewhere. She would have to do pickups and drop-offs for her gang, where she would go and pick people up and then deliver them to the gang for them to do whatever they needed to do to that person. To To this day, I'm not really sure why she was telling me all of these things and trusting me with it, considering that we had only talked for like 2 weeks. And I'm a 17-year-old girl that definitely would have like squealed. But silly on me, of course I didn't, because I didn't really have enough information on her and I didn't know what to do with that information that I had found out, so I just kept talking to her. After that, she started making more direct threats towards me, being like, I really want you to be mine, like, if you don't, like, I don't know what I'll do. And I was taking that as a sign of like, oh, like, if I don't engage in this relationship with you, like, you're going to do something to me. So I continued talking to her, and 2 weeks later, after she told me, she came to my city to meet up with me. And I was petrified, but I felt like I couldn't say no because she had pushed for it for like days and days and was being really aggressive towards me if I didn't. So she flew up and stayed at a hotel, and I met up with her. And inevitably we did what people do in relationships. After that time in the hotel, she basically declared that I was her girlfriend and that I wasn't going to go anywhere, or else she would do terrible things to me and my family. And later on through our relationship lasted about like maybe 10 months. She started to, So after that, she started coming up to see me more. So she would come up to Atlanta maybe like twice a month. She would stay for a weekend or a couple of days, and we would see each other during that. During a couple of those stays, she had pulled a gun on me, but also promised that she would never do anything to hurt me, promised that I was her number one, her only one, her soulmate, her all of the things. And I felt pretty stuck. I didn't really know what to do. I felt like if I left, that would be like her breaking point. And later I found out that it was her breaking point, because once I had talked about what she would do if we broke up, she was like, oh, I will literally drive this through your whatever, and like, you're done, like, you don't get to leave me. After a while, she gifted me a necklace that was a chain with a cross on it that she told me if I ever took off that she would love me. And she would send me all sorts of gifts and presents and money. I started cooking because of her. She would send me cooking in the mail, and she would send it to me, peer pressure me into doing it. She would give me all sorts of things to try, and she was a really heavy addict and a really heavy drinker. She did heroin and cocaine constantly, so she was always in an aggressive mood. About 6 months in, she told me that she wanted to marry me. Mind you, she was already married to another woman and had 4 kids of her own, 2 of which were under the age of 5. But she told me that she was going to divorce her wife and that we were going to have kids together, and that on my 18th birthday I was going to go to Miami to live with her and get married. Somewhere in between this, she started to grow a lot of resentment for my mom, because my mom was obviously keeping me from like being with her full time, being with her a lot, talking to her all the time. So she told me about how she planned to kill my mom, and what she was gonna do, how she was gonna plan it, how she was gonna like break into the house and like all sorts of things. And by that point, she knew where I lived, she knew all of my family's information, and I was super worried. The only problem here is that I had no evidence. Everything she said to me, she said over call. We didn't text. There was barely any like communication or threats that were in our like messages. So everything that she said was just over the phone. Sometime in January, I know that she had killed someone, because she told me that she had to go on a job and came back late at night, had to wash all the blood from her body and whatever, and that was the most recent one, I believe, and I don't think that there's been anyone else since then. Fast forward to my 18th birthday, she bought me a car, she bought me a ring, she was pretty much ready to go, and I had my flight booked by her. I got to the airport, made it to the airport, and I was about to get on the flight when my mom found out everything and came to stop me. But before that, I had already put in my phone a statement saying my name, my age, my location, and her name, her age, her location, where she worked, and I clipped every single piece of evidence that I had, all of our tapes, everything into a big folder, and I left it where my mom could find it. So my mom came to the airport and called the police and told them that I needed to have a 1013 filed so that I could be involuntarily held in a psychiatric hospital for 3 days just to protect me. And then while I was in the psychiatric hospital, my mom contacted the FBI, and the FBI started an investigation and arrested her on a complaint made by my mom. And so she's currently sitting in federal prison awaiting her trial. She hasn't pled guilty or not guilty yet because they're still investigating the murders on top of everything else that opened Pandora's box because of her arrest. Her name was Carly Miranda Blum. She lived in Miami, Florida. She worked for the Miami-Dade Police Department, and her life is over, and I
was arrested for abusing a teenager and recording those encounters. And I just read through the federal complaint, and it is incredibly so disturbing. I wasn't even able to say a lot of it on TV just now. What I can say is that in these messages that the FBI uncovered, it indicates the deputy, who by the way is 51 years old and a 29-year veteran, indicates that she knew she was in a strong relationship with, promising to marry her one day, counting down the days until she turned 18. There are videos of their encounters. In one case, it says the deputy is seen poking the teenager. There are receipts, and the deputy purchased a car for the minor. In one of the screenshots of the conversations, when the victim indicates she wants to leave the deputy is seen threatening this teenager to kill her slowly, promises it on her grandparents' life. Now, that deputy, she was arrested in Georgia. The teenager was Baker acted last week for a psychiatric evaluation, and the FBI got word that the deputy was going to travel to Georgia to be there for that teenager when she was released. She was arrested. As for the charges, just one of the charges she's facing of reporting a sexual encounter in that manner is a minimum of 15 years in federal prison, up to 30 years in prison. As for the Miami-Dade County Sheriff's Office, they're being transparent, saying they're working with the federal government on this.
In Doral, where Morgan, the sheriff, is weighing in on this.
Good morning, guys. This deputy also allegedly recorded the abuse. So now the sheriff is saying not only is this illegal, but it's a betrayal of the badge. Take a look at this body cam video we have from 2022 of Deputy Carly Miranda Blum. You can see her in the body cam footage from a separate deadly arrest she was involved in that year. The reason we are showing you her this way right now is because she's under federal arrest, so there's no mugshot as of right now. The U.S. Attorney's Office said 51-year-old Miranda Blum first received illicit material from the teen. Then she traveled to Atlanta earlier this year and recorded herself doing with the then 17-year-old. Sheriff Rosie Cordera Stutz sent CBS News Miami a statement saying, in part, the actions allegedly stand in direct opposition to everything we represent as law enforcement officers and as human beings. We have assisted our federal partners throughout the investigation, and I remain committed to full transparency and accountability, no matter who is involved. Now, the charges she is facing include up to 15 years in prison if she is found guilty. For now, I'm live in Doral. Morgan Reiner, CBS News.
A Miami-Dade Sheriff's deputy accused of betraying the badge. Investigators say she's sexually a teenage girl and allegedly recorded and then posted the crimes online.
CBS News Miami's Morgan Reiner is in Hollover Beach with what the sheriff had to say about the very case.
Messages uncovered by the FBI indicate that this deputy knew she was in a relationship with a counting down the days until she turned 18, promising to marry this teenager. There's no mugshot of 51-year-old Carly Miranda Blum as of right now, but this is body camera footage of the 29-year veteran from a separate arrest in 2022.
I'm very disturbed by the arrest of one of our deputies.
The federal complaint says on the victim's phone there are videos of several different acts taken in Atlanta. In one video uploaded in October 2024, it shows Blum beating the teen.
This kind of behavior is unacceptable. It tarnishes our badge.
The complaint says the deputy and the victim communicated over social media. This is the TikTok account listed in the complaint. It has a photo of Blum in her MDSO deputy uniform and 15,000 followers. In screenshots of their conversations, the complaint says the deputy expresses her sexual desires of the teen, and the two exchange photos and videos. In one conversation where the victim says she wants to leave Blum, the complaint says Blum threatened to slowly kill the victim if she did so.
I am very disturbed by the incident as it occurred, whether it's as a citizen, as a mother, but even more so as a law enforcement officer. We need to hold ourselves to very high standards.
Last week, the teenager was Baker acted for a psychiatric evaluation. This week, investigators say Blum drove up to Atlanta to be there when the teen was released from the hospital.
The deputy was arrested in the state of Georgia by the FBI, so my understanding is that she is still currently in the state of Georgia. Once they move her from there is when we will take our next steps. The immediate will be a relief of duty, which will happen shortly upon the processing.
Just the one charge of recording a encounter is a minimum of 15 years in prison, up to 30 years in prison. In Holliver, Morgan Reiner.
So guys, this particular video is about a girl who met a woman who was also a police officer, as at that time, and after a few times they met and chatted online, they started dating each other. Although, at first, she said she lied to the woman about her age and them both being intimate, and all that, the woman didn't see her girlfriend's age as a problem. Neither did the girl consider the woman's age as a problem before entering into such relationship. I have said it severally, that there is something off about this generation today. They aren't taught with the elders' warnings, those who have that discernment and wisdom. This generation are so careless and reckless about their lives and safety, and will go anywhere with anyone at any time without second thoughts. It seems to be a normal act for them to no vigilance, no gut feeling, and no trust of it, just nothing. They move without no consideration. But in all that, there were so many red flags all over the places. I'm happy the woman has been captured and the young girl is still alive to tell the story, because honestly, it's scary. A lot of unbelievable things happening on a daily is scary and weird at a time. I know a lot of person might want to blame the girl for not opting out of the relationship, because clearly she knows right from wrong and knows the woman isn't the kind of relationship she needs. She knew right from time the woman was way other than her, but the children of this generation, they do a lot of things without thinking of the consequences. And maybe she was enjoying the money and attention she was getting at that time. Yeah, she thought she got herself some sugar mommy, but instead it turns out the woman was as crazy as ever, because who knows what could have happened to her if her mother didn't intervene on time. But still, I'm skeptical about this. Assuming the female officer later got 15 years times at the jail, obviously the girl's life is still at risk, because definitely she may end up being free and still comes after the girl. This are the consequences of some of the decisions we make in life that can ruin one's future. I just hope the girl will be able to live a normal life after this. What are your thoughts on this video? Please share your opinions in the comments section and subscribe to my channel.